In this lesson, we're going to practice graphing a linear equation. A linear equation has two variables, x and y, which represent the x-axis on a coordinate graph. We can graph the equation y equals x plus 1 by finding at least 2 points that are solutions to the equation. The xy ordered pair is a solution if I substitute the values into their corresponding variables and the math leads to a true statement. Let us begin by creating a table of points for y equals x plus 1. Now at this point, you can choose any number that you want for the x coordinate, and you will substitute that in and solve for y. So to prove that, I've just shown you I've picked -3, 0, and 2 as my x coordinates. And what numbers you pick will also depend on how big a graph you're given to graph on and what your equation is. Let's see how these work. I'm going to plug in -3. So that means I'm going to take the equation y equals, replace x with -3, and add 1. And that's going to come out to be -3 plus 1, or -2. So my y coordinate for -3 is going to be -2. Now let's do the same thing when I replace x with 0. So I'm going to take the equation y is equal to 0 in place of x plus 1, and 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. Now we're going to try the last one. So again, y is equal to, I'm going to replace the x with +2, bring down the rest of the equation. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So when the x coordinate is 2, my y coordinate is 3. Now our job is to plot these 3 points on our grid. Now we know that it only takes 2 points to make a line, but to be on the safe side, I've gone ahead and picked 3 points because that third point will be a check. If they don't all line up, then I made a mistake somewhere. So let's first go -3, -2. So again, we're starting at the origin. My x coordinate says -3. So I'm going to go to the left 1, 2, 3 units. So I'm heading this direction. And then I'm going to go up, or excuse me, down -2. So that means I'm going to go down the y-axis 2 locations. And there's my dot. That's -3, -2. Now let's do the same thing with 0, 1. Again, starting at the origin. The 0x coordinate tells me that I'm going to go neither left nor right from this spot. But the +1 says I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to go straight up 1 spot. And that's where my point's going to be. The next one, 2, 3. So I'm going to go over on the x from the origin 2 points, and then up 3 units, and that's where my third point's going to be. Now that I have those 3 points, I'm going to draw a line. So now what I'm going to do is take my straight edge, and I'm going to graph between those 3 lines. So I'm doing this freehand for the moment. Oop, didn't quite come out straight. But on the computer, if you're doing this, you would have a program that would draw it straight for you. And if you're doing it on paper, I recommend just using a ruler, lining them up between the 3 points, and you get your straight line. Let's take a look what that actually looks like. So here are my 3 points. I've plotted them, and I've drawn my straight line through them. And that is the graph of the linear equation y equals x plus 1. Now you're going to try one. You're going to try graphing y equals -3x minus 1. I've gone ahead and chosen 3 x coordinates to get you started. I've chosen these because they will help keep our points on our small grid. So pause the video now, try graphing this equation, and then we'll check and see how you do. All right, let's take a look here. So if you did it correctly and you plugged in your numbers correctly, Negative 1, the x-coordinate, the y came out to be 2. 0, for the x-coordinate, it came out to be negative 1. And x-coordinate 1 came out to be negative 4. If you didn't get those numbers, let's take a look at the substitution. So again, we're going to take the first one, y is equal to, and in this case we had negative 3 times x, so in this case negative 1, minus 1. Well, negative 3 times negative 1, that gives me positive 3 minus 1, or 2. And that's how I got 2 for the y-coordinate. Let's do the second one. Y is equal to negative 3. Again, we're going to plug in 0 for x. Write down the rest of the equation, minus 1. And negative 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And the last one, y is equal to negative 3 times x, which in this case I've chosen to be 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Congratulations! You have now graphed a linear equation.